I've always wondered why tefillin are such a solemn black. What happened to natural leather or something a little more colourful? The biblical sources leave us with the mystery, and the Talmud only tells us that they are part of the laws given to Moses, without going into details about the colour palette. Let's start with ancient Rome, where Saturn was not only the god of harvest but also the king of festivals. He left his mark on the Saturnalia, a festival even mentioned in the Talmud one. Some theorists with an imagination worthy of a science fiction movie connect the tefillin, that Jewish prayer accessory, with the cult of Saturn. The connection doesn't stop there. They link the black cube of the tefillin with the Islamic Kaaba, located in Mecca, and even with Christian Christmas celebrations. According to them, everything goes back to Saturn, who seems to have more fans than one would expect. Thus, Judaism, Islam and Christianity, instead of being what they seem, would be facets of a somewhat covert Saturn cult. The star of Saturn in Judaism, the waning moon and star in Islam, and Christian rituals coincidence? Conspiracy theory enthusiasts would say no. Although experts may look at these ideas with some skepticism, it cannot be denied that they have a certain charm. At the end of the day, while we maintain critical thinking, we can also enjoy exploring these theories. They invite us to see religious symbols from unexpected angles, opening the door to new interpretations, if only to add flavor to our conversations. Without clear answers, a little creative speculation may be just what we need to see things from a new perspective. The parasha of Vayera, the tefillin, and the sacrifice of Isaac provide us with a fertile field for this exploration. In the mystical pages of the Zohar, Saturn is revealed not only as a symbol of limitations and challenges, but rather as the archetype of the great teacher. Here, Saturn becomes a spiritual mentor, whose lessons are crucial in our journey towards spiritual maturity. The texts of the Zohar unravel the symbolism of Saturn, often associating it with non-positive and challenging qualities. But far from being mere obstacles, these qualities are considered essential on the spiritual path, inviting us to transform adversity into wisdom. Saturn, the celestial embodiment of challenge and limitation. How does it tie into the spiritual journey we all undertake in our own unique ways? Therein lies a profound mystery, one that we'll unravel together in our exploration today. Saturn, the sixth planet from the Sun, holds a significant place in the spiritual arena. Often associated with challenging qualities, it might be tempting to view Saturn as a symbol of obstacles. However, far from being mere roadblocks, these qualities are seen as essential on the spiritual path, inviting us to transform adversity into wisdom. The figure of Saturn in ancient texts is often likened to the biblical narrative of the sacrifice of Isaac, reflecting a tension between obedience and mercy, restriction and expansion. Furthermore, the interpretation of Saturn in Jewish tradition as an adversary underscores the importance of free will and conscious choice in spirituality. In this context, resistance and challenges become vehicles for personal and spiritual growth. Consider the black color of the tefillin, a small black box worn during prayer in Jewish tradition. This possible symbolic connection with Saturn takes on a new hue. It could be seen as a symbol of the acceptance of life's inherent complexity and challenges. This acceptance is not a veneration of dark forces, but an invitation to integrate all facets of our existence on our journey towards the divine. This integration of elements and their representation of the challenging, darker aspects of our being take on an even deeper meaning. Far from being relics of an ancient cult, they speak of a deeper truth about human nature and the need to embrace our wholeness to genuinely approach the sacred. They remind us that in the complexity of our experiences and challenges, in that mix of shadows and light, lies the very essence of our spiritual quest. In the crossroad journey of psychology and spirituality, there exists the concept of the shadow. This shadow refers to the parts of ourselves that we rarely bring out into the open, either because we don't like them or because we aren't even aware they are there. But there they are, secret passengers guiding our journey without us even realizing it. Within the framework of spiritual traditions, and particularly through the lens of Judaism and the practice of tefillin, the integration of the shadow, becomes a powerful metaphor for sincere service to the divine. The tefillin emerges as a symbolic expression of how we relate to our hidden part, that Jungian shadow we all carry. This object of devotion, draped in eternal night, becomes a constant reminder of the presence of the obscure and unknown within us. Yet, within the tefillin, it houses sacred scriptures, a beacon of light illuminating from within to the outside. To summarize, Saturn, with its challenging qualities, symbolizes the necessary trials and tribulations on the spiritual path. Through acceptance and integration of our shadows, represented by the black tefillin, we grow and evolve. It's a journey that isn't always easy, but it's one that leads to wisdom, growth, and a closer connection with the divine. Remember, in the mix of shadows and light, in the complexity of our existence, lies the essence of our spiritual journey. Now let's explore the profound meaning of the Shema and Tefillin. These pillars of Jewish faith, while seemingly simple, hold an extraordinary depth of symbolism and significance. Within the leather straps and tiny black boxes of Tefillin lies the powerful declaration of Jewish faith, the Shema. Yet this commandment goes beyond a mere proclamation of faith. It invites us to an all-encompassing form of love, a love that permeates every aspect of our being. Delving into the wisdom of Rashi, a renowned medieval French rabbi, we find an intriguing interpretation of the verse, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your hearts." The use in Hebrew of the plural hearts isn't a mere linguistic choice. It suggests a call to love God with all facets of our being, with both our good instinct and the not-so-good one. This interpretation imparts a fundamental principle. Loving God doesn't merely imply expanding our good instinct. It also involves constraining and redirecting our challenging instinct towards a higher purpose. This teaching echoes remarkably with the ideas of Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung on the shadow, the parts of ourselves we often reject or ignore. Like Rashi, Jung urges us to confront and reconcile with our shadow. Tefillin, then, becomes a powerful symbol of this integration. As we wrap ourselves in tefillin, we are not merely performing a rite, we are symbolically unifying our internal dimensions. We wrap our arm, signifying action and strength, and place the tefillin on our head, symbolizing our thoughts and aspirations. This ritual act invites us to channel both our positive and challenging impulses towards love and devotion to God. This daily practice serves as a constant reminder of our complex human nature and our capacity to direct all our energies, both light and dark, towards a sacred purpose. By acknowledging and accepting the multiple dimensions of our being, Tefillin guides us towards a deeper, more meaningful integration, a pathway to internal harmony and genuine devotion. In conclusion, the Shema and Tefillin are not just religious observances, they are symbols of unity and love, reminders of our capacity to channel all aspects of our being towards loving God. They serve as daily reminders of our complex humanity and our potential to use all facets of our existence for a higher purpose. In embracing these practices, we find a path towards internal harmony, genuine devotion, and a deeper, more meaningful connection with God. Now let's explore a fascinating story responding to the question of how to strike a balance between mercy and justice in your life. A delicate harmony that allows for growth, compassion, and discipline. It's a profound question, one that has been contemplated by philosophers and theologians for centuries. Today, we delve into the heart of this question, using the symbolism of Abraham and Isaac from the Bible to illuminate the dance between Jezid and Gvura, two of the Sephirot in the Kabbalistic tradition. Abraham's story, his willingness to sacrifice his son Isaac, is a powerful biblical narrative that showcases the balance between Jezid and Gvura. Abraham, embodying Jezid, symbolizes unconditional love and total devotion to God. Yet, his readiness to sacrifice Isaac also reveals an element of Gvura, a discipline and resolve that is unwavering. Conversely, Isaac, who embodies Gvura, symbolizes strength and resilience in the face of immense trial. But his acceptance and tranquility also reveal Jesed, a deep trust and love that transcend fear and resistance. This delicate balance between Jesed and Gvura is mirrored in the daily practice of Tefillin. The two boxes of the tefillin tied on our arm and head symbolize the unity of thought and action, mind and body, spirituality and practice. The tefillin on the arm, aligned with the heart, prompts us to channel our physical strength, gvura, into actions guided by compassion and love, jesed. Meanwhile, the tefillin on the head, positioned near our intellect, encourages us to subject our thoughts to divine love's mandate, balancing mental discipline with grace and mercy. Moreover, putting on the tefillin represents a form of self-restriction, resonating with the divine name Shaddai, which appears on it. This name suggests a divine act of containment, thus far that, according to the Kabbalistic principle of Tzimtzum, allowed the cosmos to exist by limiting God's infinite light. Therefore, each morning, as we put on the tefillin, we commit to living in a dynamic balance between action and reflection, strength and grace, reflecting in our daily lives the cosmic balance between jesed and gvura. In conclusion, the story of Abraham and Isaac and the practice of wearing tefillin teach us to balance mercy and justice, action and restraint. They remind us not only of the importance of self-limitation, of not doing everything within our power, but also our responsibility to execute all possible positive actions, aligning our will with that of our Creator. The dance between jesed and gvura is a dance we all partake in, a dance that shapes our lives and our world. In the intricate weave of symbolic and spiritual interpretations of tefillin, satin, and Abrahamic traditions, a profound reflection emerges on free will and the role of Satan, or the angel of death, in our spirituality. The Talmud tells us that, at the time of redemption, the angel of death will be sacrificed, an act that will bring forth tears from both the wicked and the righteous. The wicked will weep for what they could have been, while the righteous will gaze upon the magnitude of the challenge they overcame. But why would the righteous weep? The answer finds its roots in the end of free will. Satan, often viewed as the adversary, also serves as the facilitator of free will, presenting us with challenges and temptations that allow us to choose between good and evil. It's this capacity for choice that makes our devotion and service to the divine meaningful. The true value in serving God lies not just in the act itself, but in the fact that we have chosen to do it. The removal of Satan, and with him free will profoundly transform our relationship with the divine. In the context of tefillin and its symbolism, we remind ourselves daily that serving God is a conscious choice. The scriptures within the tefillin, the practices and rituals we engage in, are manifestations of our voluntary commitment to a spiritual life. This act of devotion, then, takes on an even deeper dimension when performed as a free choice, rather than a mere obligation. Reflecting on these ideas, we realize that the end of free will, while seeming like a victory over evil, also marks the end of an era of moral and spiritual choice. The righteous weep at the moment of the angel of death's sacrifice because they recognize that humanity's highest value, the capacity to consciously choose good, will come to an end. This journey, thus, leads us to a richer appreciation of our traditions and practices. It invites us to value each moment of choice, each decision to walk the righteous path, not because we are watched, but because we choose to do so. This is the heart of our humanity and the essence of our relationship with the divine. Ultimately, the act of choosing to serve God is perhaps the highest expression of our faith and our freedom. And now, allow me to leave you with a question. If given the choice between a painless death with no guilt or suffering, and life as we know it with its imperfections and difficulties, would you still choose life?